I'm Bob. I like coffee. I also like to tell stories. So here at the Bobcast Coffee, it's time for a coffee break. So take a coffee break with me and pour yourself a cup of your favorite Joe. By the time you're done with your coffee, you'll know something about me you really didn't need to know. But you'll have fun learning it. Just remember, my stories are true. For the most part.
This episode was brought to you by JM Insurance. JM Insurance. Do you have business, personal, or life insurance yet? Contact JM Insurance Agency to understand the benefits of insuring against the unforeseen circumstances of life. We have over 40 years of experience in the business and will guide with the best probable choice for your situation. Call us for more information at 405-353-0140 or visit our website at jminsurance.agency.
It's been a while since I tried to do 3 stories back to back. I'll tell you this. I drink a lot of coffee this way. Not complaining. So we just talked about, last episode we were talking about Fort Ord, California, and how to get into a bar fight. It was a good story, and it was a unique, something that I never thought I would experience like that. So the next day comes along, and everybody's a little bit happier. Everybody has their cigarettes back or their chew back or whatever their preference was, and me. I've got my cigarettes. I've got my coffee in the morning. So we are scheduled to do Mout training the next day. Told you that we had been issued our Miles gear. Miles gear is a harness that you wear. If you're not military, follow along. You have a pair of suspenders. And that holds your belt. So this is all separate from your regular clothing. So it's load-bearing gear is what it is. And it's the big heavy duty. So all your ammo and all your stuff is stuck to this load-bearing gear. Well, we have to take all of ours apart, and they give us the Miles gear, which is a bunch of sensors up and down your suspenders, and then you have a ring that goes around your helmet that has some sensors, and you got a big box in the back of the helmet. Don't remember, back of the helmet or back of the Miles. I think it was back of the helmet, and it was a speaker. Now, all these sensors is you as a target. So if the Miles gear goes off and someone shoots their rifle, triggers their Miles gear, and it shoots out a little light pulse out, and it hits any of these sensors, your speaker box starts to squeal, and you are considered dead. Excellent. So when we go into the mountain training, which is urban warfare, the whole idea is to see how many people we can keep alive while trying to enter a town. It is technically one of the most dangerous things you can really do. Mount fighting is horrible for the attacker. So they're just wanting to show us just how bad it can be. Well, remember, I got back at midnight. So, I was up, I got a really good sleep, and I was up at 3 and getting everything ready for the day. And come to find out, not only my personal miles gear, but like 3 other sets that have been issued aren't working. So since we're not doing our mount training till the afternoon, one of the other lieutenants and myself gather up, the miles gear that's burnt out, broken, or whatever, and we go back to the mount school who issued the miles gear to us. And there's another company doing the morning session, and they're doing this attack on this town. So everybody's busy. So there's going to be a break in about an hour, and they just tell us, "Hey, just sit over here." So here's 2 young lieutenants smoking our cigarettes, right? Drinking our canteens because we don't have any coffee with us, but we're sitting up, and what they've got is a bleacher set up here and a parking area behind it. And then it goes down into a ravine and then up. And from our bleachers, you can basically see 70-80% of the town. And I guess the idea is after you do your exercise there, you can go sit and watch the next group do theirs. And then they can explain what you did wrong, what they're doing wrong, stuff like that. But it's the first group in the morning going out, so there's nobody to sit there except for 2 young lieutenants. And we're just sitting there watching them get absolutely annihilated trying to get past that first street. Well, the team that runs this Mount school, they know what they're doing. But think about it. If I'm attacking a town and you've had time to be in this town for a while and set up your defenses, you know what you're doing. So we've got a whole company that has come up, and they're in the woods, and they're sending a team up to try to cross that first road, clear that first road, and they get wiped out. So their miles gear is screaming, and we're kind of laughing. That didn't work. So they send another 3-man team up and try something different. They send another 3-man team up and try something different. What's going on is no matter what direction they try to take this street, they've got little holes knocked in the wall, or doors that are off the hinge that they can shoot through. But they've basically got everything covered. And I'm going, well, that's not very fair. I mean, if you've got a platoon of people to cover everything, and you got another platoon that doesn't know anything, those people are just going to sit there and pick you off all day. Except, as we sat there and watched as time went on, there wasn't a platoon in the town. There was 3 people. That was it. And they had knocked holes in walls and in the ceiling and on floors so that they could jump from one story down into the second story real fast and shoot through another spot. And then when the attacking force tried to maneuver to get around that, they would jump through a side wall, maybe run out the back, go into another building, and boom, they would be there. And the 2 of us are going, holy crapola, we're watching this company just get absolutely decimated, and they're down to just a few people left when they finally get someone successfully across the street. And they start trying to go into the building and immediately get wiped out. I don't know about, I'm just a young, stupid butterbar sitting next to a young, stupid butterbar. But I can tell you this is not the way to do it. They've got it all pinned out. So that finally, settles down. They start getting set up for the next exercise up in the town. And a sergeant shows up and trades out our miles gear and all that stuff. And we're supposed to get in our Hummer and go. And we're like, thank you very much. He hops in he runs back down and goes back up into the town, and we've signed for all this new stuff, and we're like, great. And we go put it in the Hummer, and we're standing there watching one more time, just because they've now moved up further up in the town. They're teaching them on something else. And we go, there's got to be a better way. So I said, look, I'm going to walk this way around the town back to where they were and see if there's any other better spot. And you walk that way. Well, I didn't find anything. But when we came back and got in the Hummer, he goes, there is a sewage pipe that looks like it's heading into town. And it's about the size of, he goes, well, Bob, you could walk in there. Thanks. It was about 3 foot round. And he goes, I didn't get very far in there, but it looks like it goes right underneath the town. All right, so when we get back, to our spot, now we still got a couple of hours, before noon, and we're not supposed to be there until afternoon. So we drive back, turn over all our stuff, and we go back up to our captain and say, this is what we saw, and this is what we did. And so we take that information, and now we're going in. And I do want to tell you that this story is in the late 80s. So this is before all the Lake Havasu City stories. This is before climbing into the flooded mine shaft and all the other things that have had horrendous effects upon my psyche. But the claustrophobia that is in Bob is there, still creeping in the background. Remember that. So we get up there and we're ready to do our Mout training. And they say, okay, you need to enter the city. And they're basically showing them where to, the captain where to go. Send your guys and take over the city. He goes, great. And they go over and, they run up in the city. And we've got 20 minutes for them to get set up. And then we're going to start our attack. And the first thing we do is we send out a platoon, or a squad this way to go find that thing. And they send someone in there and they go run around to see where it goes. It goes all the way into the city. And it's literally where the water from the street is coming down, this is the flush out. So it's dropping down into these pipes. And it's not raining, so there's no water in there. But this is how you get the streets clear. Excellent. So, one of the guys in the squad that went out there finds that this pipe is splitting up and going stuff, but he came across a branch that a hole was knocked into the sub-basement of a building. So you had the ground floor, I think it was like a 3-story building, and then it had 2 sub-floors. And this pipe broke into this, and you could go in here, and we would be inside the city before anybody would know anything. Great. That's what we're going to do. So instead of going where they're supposed to go and starting the attack, we send the whole company down there and just start sending people in this 3-foot tube. Now, 3-foot tube, I'll be honest, at the time, I could bend over and even with my backpack on, kind of duck walk and go down there. Not everybody could. Most people were crawling. But it's not that bad as long as everybody keeps moving. Bob's claustrophobia hasn't kicked in yet. That bad. But someone up ahead in the dark, because that was the whole deal. Brief intermission. Where we left off was the platoon is heading into the tunnels, and we are going down this like giant sewer pipe, heading back up underneath the town, because we have found a alternate way in. Unfortunately, someone up in the dark, because we're keeping all lights off. You look, real simple, stay right on the tail, literally. Now, let's get back to the story. Company is going into this tunnel. We're going to go underneath the town and come back up. I never did explain the town. The town is not legitimately a town. It is all cinder block built. But you can absolutely see this building is like a gas station. This building is like a three-story office building or a two-story building. This is like a house. This is like, and you can see that it's set up that way. And in the center of the town is a like a city square, and it's got buildings all around it. And so you can tell what everything's supposed to be. It just, it's cinder block. It's not all fancied up. So we're going underneath this town to get there, and somebody up ahead of us in the dark totally loses their mind. In the dark with all the people in there, and people kept, slowing down and speeding up and slowing down, and someone just lost it, and he pulls out his knife and tries to dig through the metal side of these tubes, right, and try to dig his way out. And he's screaming and hollering, and everybody has to crank on their lights, and no one wants to get near this guy because he's got a flipping bayonet out trying to dig out. He finally calms down. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time. And we are like, great. The people that are waiting to attack us to cross the road are sitting there going, where are these guys? It's taking them forever to get here. Well, they figure out that we're not crossing that street. And they start looking for us to see where else we're trying to come in, because they don't have a company guarding the town. They got 3-4 guys. That's it. So they're, using all their little shortcuts to get around town. And someone either figured out where we were, or they just guessed and said, hey, double check. And they start dropping grenade simulators down into the sewer. We are in big metal tubes, and we have grenade simulators being dropped. Now, they're not being dropped yet right on top of us. They're being dropped all over this little town, but we're all connected, so you can hear this coming down the pipes, and people really start to freak. Now everybody's got their lights on, and everybody's pushing and hollering to get everybody out. And just as we start getting people to feed into that sub-basement and head up the stairs, grenade simulators start dropping down around my platoon. Oh, it was so loud. It was just reverberating, and your head was killing you. And you can't stop and, hold your ears for it, because you got to keep moving, and you're just pushing. We finally break into the sub-basement. There's one more platoon behind us, and everybody's getting, flooding out, and we're taking over. We actually successfully got in. And I said, very, very few people, very few companies ever make it in on that first one. That first one was designed to show you how bad it was, and we circumvented it. So it was a great day for our captain. He looked great and never did start treating me worth anything. Remember, he doesn't know me. He really doesn't. But anyway, we got in, and we started doing the rest of our Mout training. So how do you get respect? I don't know. And I don't know if this is the right way to do it. Remember, I was having some problems with these guys anyway, because, I'm just this stupid, college butter bar lieutenant that didn't know anything. And we're doing the rest of that Mout training. Well, part of that mount training for us, and this was happening toward basically our dinner time, but they had this 3-story building in that courtyard for the town. And they were teaching us how to breach a window. So we had teams up on the roof and we were rappelling down. You would get next to the window you're going in, toss in a grenade, and then as soon as it exploded, you would jump and swing into the room, and you had to fire 3 shots. Well, if you've never done anything like this before, it's not easy. You've got a lot of weight on that rope. Now, I've been, caving and climbing and, stuff like that for years after this, but very little. I did a little rappelling with the ROTC department, but I don't have a lot of experience, but I got more than anybody else here. So we put 2 guys in that in that room that you're going to breach. And what they would do is this. You would come in, throw that grenade, it would bounce over there, blow up, and training grenade, it just kind of pops. And then the guy would swing in, and the 2 people standing next to the window would grab their load-bearing gear and just make sure they don't get sucked back out the window by the weight of the rope. Now, if you know what's coming, if you've done this before, when you swing in, you can brace yourself, and it's not that big of a deal. But most people, even though you tell them to, aren't ready for exactly what's about to happen to them. So it's really good to have those guys be able to get their swing up. Well, we're doing this training, so they bring us out a bunch of MREs. And, everybody who's waiting their turn can sit there and eat. And I'm looking up at that window, watching the next guy go in. I go, I got 2 guys up there that have been up in that window for a long time. They probably haven't eaten either. So I grab a couple of MREs and I go up the stairs and I go into the room, watch a guy, breach in, and I throw one guy an MRE. I said, I'll take your spot. You eat. And when you're done, I'll take your spot and you eat. And they said, great. So these guys, hey, the lieutenant thought of us, right? So I'm standing there at the window, waiting for the next guy to come in. And, just like the guy, the other guy that's been doing it all day, he's standing there. And, here comes the grenade, bing, bing, bing. And he comes in and he jumps in and lets go of the rope real fast. You're supposed to hang on to that rope. Fire with your offhand, boom, boom, and then, get yourself braced before you try to take the rope off. He just jumped in, let go of everything, or let go of the ropes, grabbed his M16 to fire, and the weight kind of pulled him back just a little because he didn't do it right. But we've got a hold of him. Got 2 hands on his web gear right there. The other guy's got 2 hands on him too, so he's not going to go anywhere, right? But he doesn't know that, and he panics, and he takes his hands and he does this to hold catch the window so he doesn't fall out. Except I'm standing right here, and his M16 is in this hand, and he goes smash and smashes me in the face with his M16. My nose breaks, blood goes everywhere. I am such a calm and loving person nowadays. I was not. I let go of this guy by throwing him back. The other guy had let go because he had gotten hit, with his hand, but he didn't. I mean, just hit him in the chest, not a big deal. But he had let go of the guy's gear also, and I threw this guy. Well, when I threw him, he's still attached to the rope, and he gets sucked right out the window. Well, the belay person down there, they've got him. He's not going to go crashing they can stop him. He's not going to crash to the ground. And they're letting him down. And I stick my head out of the window and I start screaming everything I can call this guy. Blood is dripping off my face. And the whole platoon is down there eating their dinner, watching the lieutenant scream at this guy. I don't know why, but that's what won these guys over. After that, I didn't have any problem with the platoon. Oh well. Mout training and a broken nose, insanity in the sewers. It was a strange day. But that was life in the Guard in the 80s. Okay, we're going to come back. We're going to do one more story. And this is the one that probably is the most far-fetched of all of them. All right, see you next time.